Well, hello, everyone. Hi, how are you? Happy Monday. I am super excited to be with you guys here this Monday. And of course, as you all know, if you hear the kiddos in the background, I promise they're fine. They're with daddy. So listen, tonight we have an amazing conversation. I am super excited to have you guys be a part. Listen, before we jump in, I have a few announcements. It's not like church. It won't be long, but it'll be good. Listen, my family has started a scholarship, and I am super excited to be able to sow into some graduate students at the Alabama State University, where I spent time for my undergraduate years. Listen, it is super hard to find scholarship money these days as a graduate student, and I'm so excited to be able to sow into some students. So listen, if you would like to give, you can click the link in my Instagram bio, the link in my Facebook bio, the link from my YouTube. If you're watching from YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. But you can click the link, and there's something there that's called the Walker Family Scholarship. It gives you instructions on what to do once you get to the Alabama State University donation site. Click scholarships, and once you click scholarships, you can search for my amazing family. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Listen, I'm excited. We have a great mom, a great wife, a great educator that is here to be a part of our conversation tonight. Listen, and what's more important than food? Any of you all that know me, you know that I love food, and my favorite place is Chick-fil-A. Come holler at me, y'all. Let's do some work together, Chick-fil-A. Okay? Listen, I love Chick-fil-A, but guess what? I can't eat it every day. I can't eat it all the time. I have to put good things into my body. So I'm excited to have an educator and nutritionist who is here with us to share some amazing information. The beautiful, the talented, the amazing, the lovely woman of God, Miss Monique Holmes. Hello, gorgeous. How are you doing?
Hi, good evening, Ebony. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Super excited to have you join me. The beautiful thing about doing things virtually is you don't even have to be in the same state. So we're both on the East Coast, but I'm in Georgia and she's definitely in the Carolinas. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Monique, tell people who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Okay. Well, I am a mother and to two beautiful boys, Trey and Wesley. I'm a wife of 13 years. I'm an educator.
Woo woo,
Going
13.
13. I'm going into my 15th year of education. I am a family and consumer science teacher. I've taught several disciplines such as parenting, child development, skills for living, interior design, and housing. But my most passionate of all is foods and nutrition. So I've had opportunity to work with some wonderful high school students in my past careers. I've taught in New Jersey, I've taught in North Carolina, and I've also had opportunity of operating a culinary camp for the current district that I'm employed in for middle school students. So teaching them healthy eating choices, kitchen safety, and a lot of great stuff. And I also have a recipe blog called Sophisticated Eats by M. Lachey. And I post things there for to share with everyone, the community. So thank
Listen,
you for having
did
me.
you all hear all the things? She is doing all the things. Okay. Listen, that's what we do as moms, as wife. And for her as an educator, we multitask. We have tons of things on the plate. Okay. Now, Monique, you shared something that's really good. We're going to start from the front of what you shared and make our way to the back. Number
Yeah,
one, you have been married for 13 years.
yeah,
Listen. And a little birdie, you earlier told me that you guys went to the same college
yes.
and and you're still hanging strong. Tell us a little bit about your relationship dynamic with your hubby.
Yeah, so we both met in 2005 at the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, Aggie Pride. He was an engineering major. I was a child development major, and we just clicked there. We both love helping people, and I think just that's really what brought us together. He's kind-hearted, I'm kind-hearted, and we just love helping people, mentoring young kids, and because he also was an educator as well. And so that's really what kind of drew us or kind of connected us together, is our love and passion for people and family. So we make it work by being honest, having open communication. Number one, foremost, God, putting God first. We really are really big on God and having God in our lives and our marriage and putting Him first, because without Him, 13 years would not be possible. And our family
Yeah.
support as well. So, family, we love our family. Shout out to our family, support and encouragement and mentoring as well. So,
Listen, support, that support system is the biggest thing. Do you hear me? Having people who can um be there for you, especially once you start having children and your family begins to grow. That support system is really big. And talk a little bit about, I know that you and your husband both had that experience as educators. What was the big aha moment for you? And you said, yes, I want to be an educator.
well, I would say definitely in 2007, that was my first year walking into a classroom, and I had a student that just really was having a hard time. And she was struggling. She had some issues that she was going through at home. But when I started teaching the material, I just got really personal with her and just joked around and kind of just really put on a great persona of caring and just loving and caring. She just kind of perked up. And so every day she would come and talk to me. She's like, "Oh, Miss Bird," at the time I was Miss Bird for Miss Holmes. Um, you know what? You got so much energy. I love your energy. I love you rap, because I did a rap the first time. And at the time I was talking about Tupac Shakur and Dear Mama, and I just kind of put that in there, and it was just really corny, but the kids loved it and they laughed. But that connection of saying I'm human too, right? Because she was going through a tough time, and she shared with me, and she would come talk to me every day, before school, after school. She would come and just chat with me. So reaching that young child, and she, was able to do well in school and having that encouragement. So just knowing kids that we're human, to, making that connection, showing them that you care, right? That you love them. You don't just single them out, but you treat them as if they're your own. I
Yes.
definitely, because every time I walk into a classroom over the past years, I treat all of those kids as if they were my own. Because even though I have them maybe for 85 minutes or 45 minutes that time, they are my own for that time period. And whatever I pour into them, whatever energy I give them, they'll give it back. So I
Yeah.
think compassion, support, and love, is definitely a staple when you come in as an educator with young children.
Absolutely. I think that, I can agree with you 100% that my experience in the school system was exactly the same. Children just want someone that's going to be honest with them and consistent. That consistency means everything to them. They're missing many times, I can't say every time, many times they're missing that consistency somewhere else. And so when
Yes,
you're able to be the same person saying good morning every day, give them a smile, when we could give them hugs, and things like
yes,
that. When we could, we don't get to do that as much anymore. But having that opportunity just to show them some kindness and be consistent in their lives. I have so many students that still reach out to me to this day. Miss
yes,
Walker, will you write me a letter of recognition? Miss
right.
Walker, will you, I still have so many students who are still reaching out to me, just saying thank you. And I'm always blessed when they think of me. Teacher Appreciation Day. I'm not even an educator anymore. And they're like, hey, Miss Walker, we just wanted to
Yeah,
say we miss you. And there's something about that love and compassion from your students. Um,
right.
that just makes you feel different. It's a different kind of love
It
that you
is. It
get from
truly
your
is.
students. That you get from your students. And so I know that your specialty is in a key area that's a big deal right now because people have been in a pandemic. They've been, many people and many children are in their homes eating whatever they have. You know, eating whatever it is that they can get their hands on, eating, canned items, snacks and chips, a lot of different things that they have within their home, but it's what they have. They're consuming what they have. And we've been through an entire pandemic, still in a
Yes.
pandemic. Let me rephrase my language. We
Yes.
have been and continue to be in an entire pandemic where there has been a food shortage and such a significant need, on top of the fact that there are food deserts that were there before the pandemic. Okay.
Absolutely.
Many of these children, especially in underprivileged area and underserved areas, were getting their meals from school.
Hmm.
And so now we have families who are home in a pandemic caring for their kids. Many children went back to school. Physical schools are opening up and things like that. But talk a little bit about the dynamic around eating well at home.
Yes, I definitely it's a challenge. We're in an inflation period, right? We just talked about, everything shut down last year. Prices were kind of reasonable, but then there was inflation. So when you have young children, it's a challenge because sometimes you have different age groups, right? You have different
Yes.
needs of nutritional level. So the best thing to do is to really do what you can. So if you have canned food items, it's okay to have canned vegetables. Now, some people will tell you, "Oh, cans are horrible." It's okay. All right. As long as it's low sodium, long as it's really healthy, it's a vegetable, right? Another thing is buying fruit and vegetables that are in season. When you buy
Mm,
fruits and vegetables that are in season, you're not going to pay as much. So it will be economically friendly to a typical family. Also, eating together. Children model what they see at home. And we do this in our house too. We have our two sons, and all four of us sit together. We talk about our day, and we really eat together, modeling those choices. Another thing about the snacks, okay, we can put those to the side and give your child and give them an apple. So in our refrigerator, our children have access to apples, pears. We have a bowl of blueberries, strawberries they can just pick up and eat. And those are snacks, right? Because kids will they're pretty much creatures of habit. So whatever you allow them to do, they will do it. So if you allow them to have Cheez-Its every day and they get it and eat it, because that is available, right? But let's talk about changing the cheeses and putting the apple in the bowl, raisins in the bowl, a banana, something that they can easily be accessible. And another thing about fruit that I want to tell people, or anyone that's a parent or is just eating healthy, buying in bulk is key. Now, buying an apple that's $1.99 a pound, when you can buy a 2 pound bag of apples for $3.99 or $4.99, and you can use those apples in recipes. You can actually put them in your children's lunch. Pears, fruit. Buying in bulk is key. So don't just buy one apple. Buy a whole bag. They're gonna eat it because guess what? It's available. You made it available for them to eat. They're not grabbing the cheeses, they're not grabbing the Pringles. And I know, let me tell you now, my oldest loves junk food. He loves snacks. Okay. So we kind of put them in a special place and give it to him as a treat. And he gets excited because, oh, I don't usually have this every day.
right.
So also making sure that you're abiding by the dietary guidelines of Americans and my plate guideline. And I can share that with you, which tells you what your child is supposed to eat, what you're supposed to eat regarding to age and gender, how many calories. Right now, when we talk about fruits and vegetables, the magic number is
Mm,
five servings. So, and a pediatrician will tell you 5 servings. And that can be breakfast, that can be lunch, that can be snack, that can be dinner. And if your child do not like vegetables, my sons only eat carrots and broccoli. Um, smoothie. Okay. So,
yes.
I actually make them a smoothie every morning. My husband can attest to this. I put kale.
Yes.
They don't know they're drinking kale.
I
Okay.
make smoothies every day, and the base of all my smoothies is spinach and carrots
Yes.
with ginger and turmeric and my
Yes.
kids and chia seeds. They don't
Yes.
know.
Yes, they don't know, and they just know the strawberries are their favorite fruit. So, again, modeling the behavior as parents, we can do it. Um, Finding also couponing. There's nothing wrong with coupons. Also, look at your circular. What if you go to a Food Lion? I know Food Lion's here big in North Carolina. What's on sale this week? What can we buy? It's also key, and also making a meal plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
stay
think the biggest
hydrated.
part for a lot of people now is that they talk about the finance of it.
Right.
Oh, I want to buy organic. Organic is expensive. Or I want to
Mhm.
buy all natural. And one of the biggest things that I tell people is, baby steps. I get it. You
Right.
want to just be able to buy everything organic. But if you got to buy a regular apple so that you can afford fruit,
That's right.
it's okay. Soak it in a little apple cider vinegar water or some fruit
Right.
spray. And, it's okay. I think that
Right.
sometimes people get so caught up in wanting to buy the most expensive thing or the most
Mhm.
expensive version of a thing. But like you said, that buying in bulk, really paying attention to the prices. This is where our math from
Right.
school will come in here. Really paying attention to the prices and the sales, so that
Mhm.
you can have a better option for
Right.
more fruit. I mean, because my children love fruit. I can't
Mhm.
keep
I
it.
do too.
I
Right.
can't keep it in my house.
Right. Same
I
here.
went to Sam's. I bought plums and golden kiwis and bananas and all kinds of stuff. 3 days later,
Right.
just like the Lord. Okay.
Okay.
And 3 days later, okay, it was,
Yes.
and so, I think that a lot of times buying in bulk is good too, but then just being okay with looking at the sales and getting some on sales. And guess what?
Right.
I'm going to say this to the person who's listening. If you have to get canned fruit because of where you live, get the canned fruit.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's okay.
Mhm.
It's
It
okay.
is.
I've been there. But that's what
Okay.
you can afford. That's what's in the budget. Guess what? Get it,
Mhm.
rinse it well. If
Right.
it comes in all that juice and soap, sweet sugary stuff,
Right.
get it, rinse it well. I diced it up and gave it to my babies when I needed
Mhm.
to.
Yeah. I agree.
That you have options, even if you feel like you're not in the financial position to. Well, I can't afford salmon. I can't afford.
Right.
Yes, we can. We can afford the things that we choose to
Right.
afford. We have to make a few little sacrifices here and there. So
Right.
that's my 2 cents.
I agree totally because it's about lifestyle. And that's something that we're teaching our children. What kind of lifestyle are we leading in front of them? Like, are we making healthy choices and budgeting and things of that nature? So, again, they're creatures of habit and they see everything we do and they'll emulate it. So, canned food is nothing wrong with that. Another thing is a staple is pasta and rice. Now I know for me personally, and my husband said I can share this, that he is type 2. We just found out. So lifestyle, we had to change some things. So instead of we had to do gluten-free pasta or whole grain pasta. So if you have somebody in your household that has a special dietary need, research, find out what you can still have and enjoy. And the whole family enjoys. Like we have gluten-free pasta, and our children, excuse me, don't recognize the difference when we have spaghetti night. So also just knowing, because there are some things out there as people that we need to be aware of about sugar intake and um, starch intake, and we need to make sure that we're understanding that too. So knowing that we can make these choices, we just have to take the time to do the research and actually do them.
Yes, and
So
that's a big deal too. My son recently had some gastro issues, and they told us one of the biggest things was to remove gluten from his diet. And
mhm.
so we just removed gluten from everybody's diet because mommy wasn't about to be buying separate. Oh, I got enough of this for this person, enough of this for that person. Guess what?
Mhm.
Gluten isn't necessary. None of us need too much of it. So how about we
Right.
just get a few items that we all share? And what I really did for about a week, I tried it just eliminating the starch,
Right.
instead of having rice or pasta. I've, got the veggie spirals,
Mm-hmm.
to put the
Yes.
spaghetti sauce on top of, and substituting, just wherever I could, making
Mm-hmm.
those substitutions because my son really just, it was important for him to be able to survive,
Oh
and
yeah,
so I wanted
absolutely.
to make that choice so that he could be healthy, but let him see that it's okay to have to eat differently. We
Right.
all can eat these same things and still be healthy just like you. So, you
Absolutely.
know, right now the only difference is he makes his sandwich with a different kind of bread than everybody else in the family, but
Right.
everything else we all share in that. And it's for him, especially at the age of 6, it's a big deal for him to be able to see everybody enjoying the same thing and him not feeling singled out because he can't eat something.
Right. Absolutely. And also he's included. He's
Yes.
still included in the meal planning, and that's definitely a big key with kids because we want to, again, we're trying to introduce them to those eating patterns. I told my we were covering that this week with my students about eating patterns and habits. And so definitely he feels included, and he's also getting the dietary need for his that he needs for his body. So a good job, mom.
Listen, I learned from all of y'all. I can't say I got all the knowledge myself. I learned from all of y'all. Everybody out there, I have friends who like alkaline diets and all of this. They have all the tips and tricks, and I'm like listening hard. Like, okay, what
Right.
can I get? What can I soak up? So I think that that's a really big part of it. Now, another thing that you talked about when you were kind of sharing your story. As an educator, I know that there's been a lot of change and a lot of shift, with the pandemic. And I am a homeschooler because my daughter has pre-existing conditions. My son can't eat everything, fixing lunches. It wasn't working for us. So
Right.
I'm homeschooling, but I am a former educator. So I know how to do a lot of things that maybe some parents don't. Talk about what that dynamic looks like for you as an educator, because many people are making the decisions to do what they call homeschool, doing
Mhm.
online schools and things like that. And there's a lot of shift and change that has occurred for you guys in the classroom. So what has that really looked like for you all?
So we really, and we went like a week of training at my current district, social emotional learning. We focused on that a lot. We have students that have had different experiences while they've been quarantined at home. They've, experienced loss, they've experienced frustration, and the isolation. Okay. So social emotional learning has definitely been the forefront right now. And anyone's an educator knows this. You've probably been trained or getting trained or currently training in that aspect. The reason why is we feel, and I know as an educator myself, I can't teach Johnny if he is not emotionally tuned, if he does not want to be here, if he does not want to be in my classroom. I can't reach him. So I have to tap into his emotions. How's your day? What can I do for you? And I did this the first day of school. I actually, before I got to know my students, I checked in with them. I asked them how their summer was. How was it being at home? And a lot of the students want to be at school. I was just talking to my sister about this recently because my nephew is in high school. And we were talking about how students really just wanted to be in school. And as educators now, we have got to put on the hat of the social emotional educator
Mm,
because our students need us emotionally, socially, because they've been so isolated. Okay. Virtual learning is great. You have to do what's best for your family. I think whatever makes the family feel safe, virtual or in person. Um, so the students, I would say, definitely as educators, we got to give them grace.
yeah.
We need grace because this is all new for us. The safety protocols for the students and the educator. So we have to keep our passion, which is really tough sometimes, okay, in this evolving movement of coming out of a pandemic or still in a pandemic. But the learner is really the student that we have. The student is basically, the center. And
Right.
we have to just really be human. we have to be human, because it's just key right now. They need us to be human and recognize what they need, and we got to be there for them as much as possible.
And that's so important that you said that, because even with my children, they're in an online self-paced program. One of the classes that I made sure I added to their learning for this first time doing this, well, we did it where I wrote and created their curriculum last year, just coming out of the pandemic and everything. And so I was like, Lord, I don't want to keep doing this, Lord.
Right.
I need something else, because if any educator knows, writing curriculum is
Yes, I've been there. Yeah,
tedious.
it
Okay.
is.
So just, now with the online self-paced program, one of the first classes the only reason I picked this program is because they had a social and emotional learning
Yes.
platform and process. And so
Right.
that's what made me, when I searched their classes and I saw that, I said, okay, all right, we can go with this one, because I know that they'll be getting what it is they need. And what I do is, all of their classes, I don't sit with them, but social and emotional learning, when they're taking their 30 minutes a day to
Right.
do that class, I'm
That's
sitting with,
wonderful.
hey, and I divide that time up, 30 minutes with my son, 30 minutes with my daughter. Hey, let's really listen to what she's saying,
Right.
and she'll
Right.
ask a question or something. And I'll say, well, how are you feeling? What does that make you feel like? And we have like emotion charts and things like that, because I totally agree with you saying, even as a homeschooler, my children have to be in the right mood to learn.
Yes.
And people think
Yes.
that changes because you're schooling from home, and it doesn't. If a child is not emotionally stable enough to learn, they're not going to retain anything because they don't
Right.
want to receive it. It's just
So
like us
true.
as believers.
Yep. It does. If it's a hardened heart, it's just
If
going to
it's a
be.
hardened heart,
It's going to be reflected
you
and bounce
frustrated,
off.
irritated, angry at
Yes.
God, and
Yes.
he's trying to give you something, it's hard for you to
Right.
receive it. And so,
Exactly.
I think that we often forget that uh, children deal with a lot of emotions that we deal with as adults,
Yes.
but
I
they don't
agree.
get the opportunity to cope, speak out. I talked about this a little bit last week. I was raised in an environment where I was to be seen and not heard. I didn't
Hmm.
come in till I was told. That's the way
Right.
we grew up. Street
Exactly.
lights on,
Same
you better
here.
be close enough that when she yell your name, you can hear,
Right.
you can get in that house. But my children can't be raised the way I was raised. The
Hmm.
world is impacting them completely different than it did for me as a kid. As a
Absolutely.
mother, now I'm not even comfortable letting my kids go outside and play without me. What?
Same. Same here. Yeah.
It's just not
Same here.
happening. They're
Yeah.
not going outside to play without me. As a kid,
Mhm.
I don't remember my mama being outside with me to play. Okay. She was probably working somewhere up the street. The neighborhood cared for us,
Right.
tended
Same
to
here.
us.
Yep.
You didn't come into our neighborhood and bother anybody else's child.
Right.
But see,
Right.
now there's an added stress for parents
Hmm.
tending to and caring for their children, creating that environment of love and comfort. And now, even furthermore, for the child, because my daughter's like, well, mommy, I want to go outside. And I'm like, well, sweetie, mommy needs to finish something. I'm working on
Absolutely.
something. I
Yeah.
need to finish this before we can go outside. Or it's raining and they
Right.
want to go outside and play in the rain. Mommy doesn't want to play in the rain. You want to take
Okay.
daddy outside? Let's wait till daddy
Exactly.
gets off. And I teach my daughter about being okay being in the rain. We both have natural hair. My hair is locked. My daughter's hair
Yeah.
is natural. So it's okay for us to be in the rain. It's okay for us to
Right.
get wet, but mommy doesn't want to. And you have to be okay with mommy not wanting to do something, because there'll be
Right.
times when you don't want to do something and you'll be able to tell mommy that. And
Right.
so just
Absolutely.
creating that balance that I never had as a kid. Something happened today. I was on the phone with my mom. This is me telling my business. I was on the phone with my mom today. My daughter said slash did something, and my mama just took a pause. She was like, "Oh, I was waiting for you to. I'm just trying to see what you're gonna do." And I'm like, "Well, guess what? I'm not gonna do what you did,
Right.
or do
Right.
things the way that you have done them. I'll
Right.
give you a call. Let me call you back." Let me call you back.
Exactly.
So that I can tend to my daughter, tend to my child the way that I want to. And my mother loves my kids, but I'm just saying, she would she was raised a certain way. She
Right.
raised us a certain way. And now with
Same.
my kids, she be like, whoo, whoo. I just y'all raise your kids different. I'm like, yeah,
Yep,
because I'm an
exactly. As
adult
a
and I
different
went to therapy
generation.
about the way I was raised. So
Yeah,
I want my children to go to therapy by choice, not because of something I did, but
right.
just for natural healing. And we make it a normal thing in our house. Therapy. Mommy goes to
Yeah,
therapy.
absolutely.
Daddy goes to therapy. My children have a therapist. Everybody needs to have an outlet, a way to communicate, somebody to talk to, and that because that the social and
Absolutely.
emotional learning aspect is much bigger than
I agree.
just a class with a list of tasks um, and
Absolutely.
things to do. And so they have their class, but they also have a therapist that they
Yeah,
talk to. And I have them
nothing
talk to
wrong with
her
that.
about what they learned in their social and emotional learning class. And, just, and I step out of the room. They're
Right,
67, but guess
right.
what? I step out of the room. Maybe they want to say something about mommy that they don't feel comfortable saying in front of her. And I want them to get that out. I don't want that to be held within them
Right.
and make them feel like they have to hold on to the weights of life at 6 and
Yep. Yep. And this is so key because I know my 8 year old's very emotional, but my 5 year old's kind of like, okay, what's going on? So I know with him, we have to treat him and talk to him differently and help him foster those emotions and own up to them. Don't hide them. Express how you feel. Tell us how you feel. And he's, African American boy, and he may not feel comfortable doing that. And so, one thing that my husband and I really kind of really let him have his space. We let him meditate. He meditates with me because I meditate in the morning. We do yoga and stretch. And when he gets frustrated or gets overwhelmed, I say, okay, let's sit down. Let's gather our emotions. I'm not gonna say go sit down somewhere, boy. That's kind of old school out there. But
It
but
is.
yeah, but you kind of just have to say again, you know, we have to know our own children. We have to know their needs. And we have to be there for them. And so when you see your child is really needs you emotionally, stop what you're doing and take a break. Because I know from my oldest son, he really struggled with virtual learning. He is a socialite. He loves socializing with kids. And it really hurt him to be out of school for like 16 months and be at home. So we have to really be there emotionally. We have to make sure we give them opportunity. We provide resources, therapy, because we're our kids' biggest advocate. And if we
Yes.
can't see that they're hurting, if we can't see they need assistance, then what are we doing as parents? It's hard because we have a hard job. We wear so
Yes.
many hats. But just trying to really, if you see your child doing something or just not, notice a behavior that's not of them or that's not their norm, okay, what's going on? So I think it's hard for us to kind of be, oh, I'm strict, you know. But again, you got to have the social emotional is very key, even with your own kids. It's just very
Yes.
key.
Absolutely. Well, I know it doesn't seem like it, but we've been here for 30 minutes. So
Oh God.
before we
Okay.
before we get ready to wrap up, what I would like for you to do, I know we talked a little bit earlier about the nutrition side of things. I know you had some recipes, and I know that there's ways for people to find that. And so talk a little bit about some recipes and things that people can do in their homes and share with their kids. And then, maybe 2 or 3 things that you would just like to share so that if people miss the whole thing and they just get these last 2 or 3 things, that they get in the meat. So go ahead.
Okay, so I actually have an Instagram at Sophisticated Eats by M. Lachey. I also have a blog that I also have. I shared the link with you. I am just really focusing on healthy eating, nutrition. I post a lot of meals like pasta dishes. There's one about a chicken wrap, biscuits. These are things that you can do with your kids. There's a blueberry muffin recipe that I have that I do with my children. But what I would say, my advice is let your child be a part of the process at home. Let them make their own food. We do that here in our house where the kids they participate by making their sandwiches, seeing what ingredients are going in there. So I do post some tips there with my recipes. They're on my blog. Also, two things. Number one, I would say when we talk about meal planning and making things healthy, um, do what you're able to do. Know your budget. Know what you are capabilities are due, and work with what you have. Um, if you know that your children love fruit, go buy a bag of fruit. If you know your family loves chicken and you do fried chicken, bake the chicken. So making baby steps to the process of healthy eating is so key. Um, and when you invite your children to see what's going on in your kitchen, and see what's going into their ingredients, their food, they will buy into it. And they will also teach their children how to eat healthy and how to make better choices. The second thing is, I would also say it's definitely family. Make it a family event, make it a family activity. Also, look at the free resources. The internet is your best friend. Google is your best friend. There are so many resources out there for young children, for families. Pinterest, all recipes. MyPlate.gov is a great resource if you're trying to understand the dietary needs for children. It talks about how you can do different snacks, nutritional need by grade level, by gender. And so it talks about that. So research, take time, make a family meal plan, let your children know what we're having for the week. We do that here in our household. Take them to the grocery store with you. Let them understand the price, how to price things out, budget. One apple versus one bag of an apple, like what, also pricing things. So that's just my key. Definitely using what you have and just go from there. You'll be amazed at what you can do in your household, okay, with a bag of fruit or a bag of onions or a bag of, make sure you have mince, potatoes, kale. You would be amazed by what you can do. Start with what you have at home and build from there. That's just my
Yes.
yes.
And she is not lying. I have used several of these tips. The cooking space is normally my space of peace where I get my personal time, but my daughter loves asking, Mommy, can I help? And sometimes I'll say, well, this is mommy's time. Let me just go ahead and make dinner really quickly because we have something to do. But on days when I have the time, I say, hey, all right, well, you make the rice. Or we have a rice cooker. So when she makes the rice, I've shown her how to use the rice cooker. You know,
Right.
when she gets a little bit older, maybe I'll show her how to make rice in the pot. But right now, while she's helping me, it's easy. She knows 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. She knows that. So she's always good there. She knows how to make omelets on her own. She knows how to we've opened up to using the stove so she can make an omelet on her own. She knows how to make her little noodles. She likes noodles. So she knows how to use the stove now. We just started gradually. I used to stand there with her. Now her dad is like, Madison, will you make daddy one of your famous omelets, in the morning? So, and she loves being able to be the person to kind of cook for us sometimes. And it's been really good to just see her open up in the kitchen. She's trying things. She's like, oh, mommy, I'll try a mushroom, or I'll try, she's open a little more to trying. Now, my 2-year-old,
Yeah.
he can't nothing about it. He still just wants pouches,
Oh,
and I make a lot of smoothies with protein powder in them because he
yeah,
will
yeah.
not eat table food. So he's different. Okay. He's
Mhm.
different. But I just make a lot of smoothies for him, and sneak in all the vegetables and all the good stuff to make sure he's getting what he needs. So just
See,
like Monique shared earlier, don't hesitate to just, if they're not eating it the way they need to off the plate, throw it in the blender.
that's right.
Throw it in the blender. Now
Smoothie.
don't put broccoli in the blender. Uh,
That's not gonna work. But yeah,
don't put the
spinach,
broccoli in the
leaf
blender.
vegetables.
Leaf vegetables, a little spinach, a little kale, some carrots,
Yeah.
um, my friend, a very close friend of mine, she had a company called Living Better with Life Juice, and she used to make, even she had the flavorful smoothies, but she would have savory smoothies, with
Mhm.
some of the more savory beets and things like that. And so, just
Right.
try. Aaliyah's birthday recently passed. She said, if at first you don't succeed, Dust yourself off and try again.
Try
Okay.
again.
And try again. But thank you so much, Monique, for
Thank
being here with me
you.
tonight. I am so grateful. You have just shared such amazing information. Listen, we pack as much as we can in these 30 to 45 minutes. And let me tell you, I hope you had a pen and a pencil and some notepad and wrote some stuff down and took you some notes. But if not, guess what? You can catch the replay. All right. Everything will be up back on live on Facebook and it'll be streamed as well on YouTube. But before we go, we always have to pray and cover you guys with our little daily prayer. And it goes like this. God, we thank you that in all that we do, our minds will think of you, our eyes will see you, our mouths will speak of you, our ears will hear you, our hearts will beat for you, the blood flowing through our veins will be for you, our hands will be lifted to worship you, and we will walk within the footsteps that you have designed. And anytime we lay down to rest, we will awaken, refresh, renew, and restore. I thank you guys so much for being here with me and Monique. Guess what? This has been Mummy Mondays, and I'm so glad you took some time to join us. We will see you right here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. You guys have a great night. Bye bye.
Good night.